Hi, today we're going to make some crispy brisket bacon. I'm Anita from KetogenicWoman.com, where I share keto and carnivore recipes and other cooking ideas that have helped me to lose over 130 pounds. If you're new, I hope you check out some of my other videos, and for those of you that are returning, welcome back. I hope you liked today's video. Okay, so today I'm going to make some brisket bacon. Brisket bacon is my absolute favorite thing to do with leftover brisket. Now, in order to have leftover brisket, you have to cook a brisket or bake it or, whatever way. My absolute favorite way to make a brisket is in the oven, low and slow. And I'm going to show some footage for those of you that have not tried to cook your own brisket. We're just going to take a few seconds or a short period just to review the steps to how I got to this point with my brisket so that you'll know what to do. So let's have a watch. Okay, this brisket is about 5 pounds. It's a nice fatty one. Kind of even looks like pork belly, so I specifically wanted to use this one to make the brisket bacon with all that fat in it. So before we sear the brisket, I am adding salt and white pepper. I'm using kosher salt in there, and the idea is to try to rub it in on all sides of the brisket, which is a little tricky, but you can just keep turning it over and spreading a bit more on. It helps when it's nicely seasoned.
I feel like I fondled that way too much.
Okay, so I am melting some tallow here. We're going to sear this about 1 minute or so, maybe a minute and a half per each side. So just keep flipping it over until it looks browned all over. Now for baking, it's going to go with the fatty side on top. My lid did not fit over this big piece of brisket, so I am going to wrap it. I put parchment paper on first and then the foil. We want it to be airtight, so I had to try to put a lot of foil on here and then try to get it very tight all the way around. And then I decided to put the lid on top to help weigh down the foil because I felt that would make it a little more airtight. It's going to go into the oven at 275 for about 1 hour per pound of meat. So in this case, it will be about 6 hours to bake that. Okay, let's see what this looks like. Oh, it is gorgeous. Look at that. This is going to be perfect. Okay, so you've seen how I got to this point with my brisket. This piece that I made was about 5 pounds, as you heard in the little clip, just over 5 pounds. And I got a huge brisket from Costco. Look at these two hunks of meat. So this is brisket, $3.99 a pound. I could barely lift it into the cart. It is 8.6 kilograms. So that is like, it's over 20 pounds. That is the cheapest. To get a whole piece is the cheapest way to go. I believe it was $3.99 a pound. And I got that piece during my budget carnivore month that I did a few months ago. And so when I get those home, I cut them up into about 5 pound pieces. And I believe that brisket made 5 pieces. I've been saving this one. This was sort of the last piece of that giant brisket, and it was the fattiest piece, which makes it perfect for making brisket bacon. So there's what it looks like inside. So a lot of people kind of get worried about that much fat in it. But let me tell you, not only is your brisket going to be super tender, this is the best piece for making the brisket bacon, which I'm about to show you. Oh, and I just want to show you this. So when I made that yesterday, I poured off the juice from the pan, and this is fat that you can use for cooking, and this is beef jello down here, which is a very tasty thing. So the key to this is making some nice thin slices from what you have. So I'm going to make a few slices. Okay, that should be good enough to show what I'm going to do. Get these, eat those later for another meal. So I'm going to also just cut them this way to make smaller pieces out of them. You've probably noticed that I've got my air fryer here. It's actually a Ninja grill, but I use the air fryer option more than any other thing. You can also do this in a pan. Like this morning, I took some of my brisket and I made pan-fried brisket bacon. You can also take a sheet, lay down some parchment paper, and roast your thin slices in the oven. I would suggest 375 until they're as crispy as you like them.
That's gonna take, I don't know how long.
So keep an eye on it. I have actually not made these before in the air fryer option here. This will be a first. I usually use the pan fried option because I'm usually just making enough for myself to eat in that meal. So here I'm going to be making these and probably having them tomorrow with some eggs or something like that. So let's get started on this. You don't have to season it. This has already been seasoned, but if it's not salty enough or whatever, you can add some seasonings later. I like to not add too much seasoning because then the fat that drips down into the bottom pan, I can pour that off and save it for cooking. It's almost like bacon grease at that point because it's all, it's a cooked piece of meat. So I'm going to get this started. I'm going to put it on the air crisp option. I'm going to just let it go at 390. I don't think this is going to need much time. So let's try 10 minutes. Like I said, I haven't done this in this machine before, and we'll start it. So lay them down in a single layer. I'm going to check this at the halfway mark and probably flip them over. All right, let's see what we have here. Oh, look at this. I am gonna flip it. Okay, we're gonna let that go. Maybe it'll take 5 minutes, maybe not, but here we go. Look at you waiting so patiently. Oh, Teddy. There you go. Brisket. That's what that is. That good doggy. He's such a good dog. Oh, look at this. I'm gonna let it go. It actually has 2 minutes left. I'm gonna let it go for 1 more minute, really get that fat crispy. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave it at this. Boy, does this ever look amazing. I'm gonna scoop it out to drain on the paper towel. Now your time will vary if you try this in your air fryer, depending on how thick you made this. I'm thinking for the rest of this, I might even try this with my meat slicer and see if I can get them even thinner, so that it'll be even more like bacon. So those will be super thin, and of course I would want to maybe only go for 5 minutes in total. This air fryer will need a good cleaning afterwards. There will be some usable fat down there, but so worth it to do this. So I'm just going to turn this on. Okay, I'm going to taste this, but I want to let them cool for a couple more minutes because that hot fat in there could burn my tongue. So while it's cooling, the reason I made this brisket bacon video today is because last week when I was traveling, I opened up a bag of the Carnivore crisps brisket, and when I pulled it out I was like, wow, these look like bacon. Reminds me of my brisket bacon. And I had so many of you say, oh, please make the brisket bacon, show us how to do that. So yeah, so that's why I did this video today. For those of you who do not want to go to all this trouble of making a brisket and then making the bacon out of it, although I don't know why you wouldn't do that, but I know that some of you just cannot do that. I'm going to put the link below so that you can get your very own Carnivore crisp brisket. That is what reminded me about this wonderful recipe. So either way, it is brisket and bacon goodness. Let's give it a try. Oh, it's still warm, but nice and rigid like bacon. Oh, Pippi, you showed up too now. I don't want to share this though. This is too good. I'll give you a piece of the other stuff in a moment.
It's so good. Brisket bacon, you guys.
You have to try it. I mean, you have to try it. It's so good. I mean, I could just probably stand here and eat this all, but I won't. I will let you guys go. Thank you for watching today's video, and I hope you'll join me again in my next video. Take care, everybody. I'm going to give the dogs a piece of brisket so that their patience is rewarded. Oh, look at you guys. There you go. There you go.
Yummy, yummy. Oh, sure, blame it on me. Okay, I need to wipe the grease off my fingers now. The reason that I made this brisket